What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hold a Husband podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got both of my co-hosts on the line with me tonight. What's good? I got my man Jay in the building.
Not much, man. It was good. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed their new year, bringing in 2024 the right way. But want to quickly remind you, you can catch us on TikTok as well as subscribe to us on YouTube at Hold Hustle Podcast. And for those interested in promos or shout outs, you can shoot us a DM on IG at Hold Hustle Podcast, as well as shoot us an email at holdhustlepodcast at gmail.com. All right, T.
I also got my man SD in the building. What's good, man?
Nothing, man. It was a great weekend for fantasy football.
Ah, say he went and bought the trophy
Some of
out.
us. Some
You know
of
what I'm
us.
saying? The champ is in the building, so I just wanted to let everybody know you don't want no trouble with the camel toe killers. Just letting y'all know. Listen, I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh, and I want to remind you all to donate to the Hold a Husband podcast on Cash App and PayPal. All right, T.
I want to remind everybody y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. Tonight's episode is titled Husband Material. We're going to be talking about what it means to actually be husband material and how men that are considered to be husband material actually evaluate women that they consider wives. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen trending or on our timelines. And so we got a couple of interesting posts we want to break down this week. This first post was I ended up posting it on my page, but it was about a guy and his interaction with the woman he was dating, where he asked her to bring him some food. Let's take a look.
Was coming over to the crib, right? And so I was feeling a little hungry. So I asked her, I was like, hey, can you grab me food? I'm hungry and I don't want to leave the crib. She said, oh, sure. If you pay for it, I'll pick it up. So then I asked, wait, do I have to pay for it in order for you to bring me food? She said yes, because if I pay for it, it puts me in my masculine energy. Wait, so we've been dating for a little while and you can't bring me food? $20? Unless I pay for it? And to me, don't get it wrong, I was not mad at all. She still came over. I went and got my own food and everything. But it did make me look at her different. Because to me, that's a character flaw. Because if you only have the capacity to do something for me under the condition that it's reciprocated or that like I pay for it, that means it's not genuine, it's not in your heart. And to me, that doesn't work because I'm the opposite. I hold those doors for you on those dates because it's in my heart. I pay for everything when you're with me because it's in my heart. I book your plane ticket because it's in my heart. I am not one to keep score. And so if you can't bring somebody that you've been talking to, dating, a $20 meal because that puts you in your masculine, major red flag.
I don't have no problem with him cutting off the dating situation. That would definitely be an issue for me as well. Because to me it sounds like bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like paying $20 for a meal puts you in your masculine energy. Like, the fuck are you talking about? So I would feel insulted, like with my intent. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. But we talk about it all the time. There'll be signs if you with a woman that's just using you for money or the benefits that she can get from you, and this is that type of situation. Like I saw some people acting like he was testing her. I'm like, no, I don't feel like he was testing her. That's just something that came up out of the just a random ask of somebody. And $20 to pick up some food. You done bought plane tickets and done all this. Yeah, I would have dropped Shorty too. What y'all think?
I had a different answer before you just stressed the point that she had said, what did she say? Oh, that it puts her in her masculine energy. Yeah, I completely missed that. And it does sound like maybe a manipulation tool in order to get out of paying for anything, no matter how small, which a meal, something to go on the way to see somebody, doesn't really cost that much. So I get what you're saying, after you had stressed that point about, cutting her off, although I would probably have a discussion with her about how she thinks and different things like that, and mention the points that he mentioned, because sometimes, you know, we also got to understand and try to give a little grace with certain things in the dating world. And I think this might be one of them things, depending on how she responds. You let her know through your actions and different things that he has done. He said, man, I just did this, I did that, and I did this because of whatever. And then say, I did that because, you know, I care for you. I want to do these things for you. And for you, that shouldn't be a big deal for you to spend $15, $20 on me to get something to eat when I do these things for you. That's not putting you in your masculine at all. And I think you're looking at that wrong. And depending on how she responds to that would depend on how I move forward. Because
that was a good response. That was a good one.
That was.
Because everything don't require a cutoff. Because it's not in line.
Well, let me ask you this, because well, the reason that I say that is I discourage women from trying to get with the guy and change him into something else. So if you show me that you like a selfish person, or you don't want it, I can't spend money on a man, or I can't do this and that, cool. That's your choice to operate in that way. I would just move different, because I know me personally, that was one of the things that separated my wife from the other chicks when we were dating. She had money to pay for her own stuff and was willing to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, for example, we would be out on a date and she went, hey, you ever had this before? She would just order something and not be, you know what I'm saying? Like, not just trying to run up my tab. She would be willing to pay for it on her own, so that I could experience stuff. So ladies, don't miss out on a quality dude over something minuscule like $20. And even if you didn't have it, just say like, if I had it, I would. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll cash up you the money. Like, men are problem solvers. I'll immediately fix that problem. But if that became a pattern, it would become suspicious as well.
Yeah. So if it was early on, like I don't really know shorty, and she come out with that attitude, maybe that'll be a little different. But if we done been talking or whatever the case, and I like you or whatever, I'm gonna try to talk to you and see if maybe we can, because sometimes as people, we need to be adjusted when we get into relationships, because how we think might be a single mentality because we've been out here so long, whatever the case. So I kind of understand that part of it. But if we've been rocking for a little bit, or we've been dating for a little while, and you come out with this, I'm probably gonna chill a little bit. You know, just
that's a fair point. That's the main thing. What I took from it, I took it as a level of selfishness, because it's $20, and then she made a lame excuse saying, "Oh, it puts me in my masculine." I mean, listen, he just asked you to get him some food. He ain't asked you to go fight another dude for him. That's putting you in your masculine. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if a woman acts like that, I feel like that's just the tip of the iceberg there. That is more problems come, especially early on in the dating stage, in my opinion. There.
I can see it for sure.
Because that's normal stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I was in college and we were single, me and my roommate would have a chick stop at Waffle House, have her bring me something too, type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the norm. Like, it's no different than if you headed to go link up with a chick or go to her crib or whatever. She hit you up. Hey, you can stop and grab a bottle of wine, or you can stop and grab this.
Right.
Like, who's not willing to do that on somebody that you actively engaging and dating with?
You know what? I think, unfortunately, you know, in this day and age, we live in this where women want to just have it all, get everything, get something for nothing, not have to even reciprocate.
Yeah.
Think about it, man.
What you saying got a lot of truth to it, because a lot of women feel like, you know, they don't have to. They're reciprocating with their time. Well, I'm being around you, so that's me reciprocating the energy for you, spending your money. So
or giving you sex.
A job.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it. But I just try to stay away from selfish women altogether. But if I've been rocking with shorty and I haven't got a chance to really see that side of her, and I like her, then I'm gonna see how she responds to something. Because your attitude, because you gotta understand, nowadays you gotta try to deprogram what's being heard on social media. So this now I'm in my masculine energy thing is something that's coming from social media that most people have, be it men or women, with something, right? High value man. A lot of dudes spew that out, right? And they don't even know what high value is, and and just use these terms just because they got a set of balls, right? So the women, you gotta try to deprogram some of this stuff, especially if you feel like she's a good woman, maybe a quality chick, and maybe just got this here thing here where she's a little off with it, and you want to try to get it more in line with how you see your, the relationship going, since a woman wants you to lead, right? So you go to her, you say, baby, look, this is how I do you, this is how I treat you, and something as small as $20 does not put you in your masculine, and we need to, you know what I'm saying, try to change this here type of behavior or whatever. And if she responds and say, you know what, you're right, that makes sense the way you broke that down and explained it to me, I'm still rocking with shorty. But if she say, no, I'm that's in my masculine, sprinkle, I don't do none of that, man, get out of here. Get her out of here, because the attitude and mindset ain't where you need it to be for this relationship to continue healthily. So that's the case. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, this that leads into this next video. Now, this next video is something I definitely didn't agree with, but it was a woman explaining why she feels women that are married need to have a secret stash of money. Let's take a listen.
I am a believer that you should always have a stash tucked away.
Are you?
When it comes to marriage. Have you a little money on the side? I think
when you say stash, you mean secret that they don't know about?
Secret.
Okay. It's just your own.
They could
what
know,
makes it a stash
they
then?
Could know it's your money on the side just in case something happens.
I do not believe in secrecy inside of your marriage. So let me start by saying that. And when I hear the word stash, I associate stash with secret.
Okay.
So I don't have a quote unquote stash. I don't advise to have a quote unquote secret stash, right? You call it whatever you want, but the secrecy, I think, is what makes it an issue. Okay. Because I don't want my husband feeling like he has to have something secret from me. Now, with that being said, I definitely think that you should have an emergency fund of your own, because if you only are counting or can rely on what you have as a couple, if that's depleted, I want to be able to say, baby, I got it. I want to be able to say, mama has something saved. Not, I got this saved because I can run out the door and I'm playing, maybe if something go wrong, I got to have something to, be secure.
But that's what we're talking about right now.
Well, no, but you said, what would I advise? I don't think that should be a thought. I think this is like a prenup conversation. I don't believe in prenups. I don't have a prenup. Okay. So it's the same thing. It's like, I don't believe in planning to fail. And if my husband approaches me and says, I have this money put aside just in case this doesn't work out, I'm going to feel some type of way. My feelings are going to be hurt, because why are you even thinking that this might not work out?
I'm a believer that you should always have a stash tucked away.
Are you?
When it comes to marriage. Have you a little money on the side? I think
when you say stash, you mean secret that they don't know about? Secret. Okay. It's just your own.
They could
what
know.
Makes it a stash
they could know it's your money on the side just in case something happens.
I do not believe in secrecy inside of your marriage. So let me start by saying that. And when I hear the word stash, I associate stash with secret.
Okay.
So I don't have a quote unquote stash. I don't advise to have a quote unquote secret stash, right? You call it whatever you want, but the secrecy, I think, is what makes it an issue. Okay. Because I don't want my husband feeling like he has to have something secret from me. Now, with that being said, I definitely think that you should have an emergency fund of your own, because if you only are counting or can rely on what you have as a couple, if that's depleted, I want to be able to say, baby, I got it. I want to be able to say, mama has something saved. Not, I got this saved because I can run out the door and I'm playing, maybe if something go wrong, I got to have something to, be secure.
But that's what we're talking about right now.
Well, no, but you said, what would I advise? I don't think that should be a thought. I think this is like a prenup conversation. I don't believe in prenups. I don't have a prenup. Okay. So it's the same thing. It's like, I don't believe in
all right, I'm going to cut it off before the prenup conversation. I'm going to cut it off right there. All right, now, I think what she's describing sounds kind of shysty to me. And I wish she would have asked her the follow-up question, like, what are you talking about, men and women? Because I got the impression that she was talking about women should have a secret stash aside. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's something that, I mean, I don't have anything wrong with both people in the relationship having their own money or your own account or whatever the case may be. I just feel like everybody needs to be transparent about it. Like, you should be if you in a marriage, you should be transparent about bonuses and how you loaning money to other people. Like, you should be transparent about what you're doing with, even if it's your money, if it's over a certain amount. But what she described seemed like some old shiesty, I'm pretending I'm broke just to afford, like, some manipulation type of stuff.
She said that it didn't have to be a secret. She said that in the beginning. But she also said that just in case, the relationship falls apart or whatever, she mean a divorce. That's what she means, right? We can play with these here words all we want. She means in case of a divorce, now you got money put away on the side. But the thing is this, man, it's shiesty. It's wrong, because I can guarantee you, regardless of what she got on the side, guess what she gonna still want?
Half
his money.
Half. She's gonna want half.
Yep. She's still gonna want some of his money, man. So women like this, when you go into it with the mind frame like this ain't a prenup. This is something you hash out in the prenup, and you say, hey, this is what I have, this is what I got, and now both of y'all agree to this. That way, if there is a split, now you're done. But when you get into a relationship, now you are preparing to leave. And 80% of the time, it's women. It ain't men that's walking away from these marriages.
Premeditated.
Yes, it's the women that's walking away. But now she's stashing away, and you better believe that stash is going to include some of his money, because all women believe that what's his money is their money, right? So you better believe that money that's going into the pot, she going to be taking 100 here. She gonna be taking 200 there and putting it off in her getaway stash. And then when she feel like she got enough and she can still get some from him that she done put away in a safe, she'll leave him. Then when she tired or she feel different, but she still gonna want his money and him to pay alimony or child support for them kids while she's sitting over here on a fortune. So women like that.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going into a marriage, hey, I'm going to have this secret stash somewhere, I think you're going into it in bad faith to begin with, because in a sense, because, you're keeping that secret from you. Like you said, it's one thing if you have your own, like she said, if you have your own emergency account, you have your own money, that's something totally different. That's fine. That's something you discuss with each other there. I'm sure both have some sort of savings account or emergency funds, or should come into it with that.
But I mean, I remember reading somewhere that the biggest wealth transfer from men to women is a result of divorce, it was kind of worded different. Like, I think it's like most female wealth is built through divorce or inheritance. It's some kind of like sentence like that, where it's like, well, damn, this is it's a very significant thing. And no matter what a man's income level is, if we're talking about a woman getting a percentage of it, then that's going to significantly impact his lifestyle and livelihood, no matter what. And so, like I said, I think you should be transparent about those type of things. But the problem with a relationship is you can't control another person.
Transparency.
Like you can say transparency, but if that person don't respect you or let you, it takes the time for you to discover you've been being deceived. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that could be years before you actually discover that they weren't doing what they told you that they were doing, or you didn't have all the actual details. And there could be some real, I work in insurance. So when some of these investigations go on, when you're talking 7-figure amounts of money, all kind of motives come into play. And you'd be surprised the type of planning and the methodology that people use to try to get to the money. So divorce is an easy route.
That's what a lot of women use that nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of women now, because of the numbers statistically, this ain't just something that we throwing out there. When you look at the numbers, a lot of women are using that divorce as a tool to get ahead. to get some type of money, be it alimony. 97% of alimony payers are men in the United States. 97%.
Yeah.
90% of child support payers after divorce are men. And a lot of women know these here things. And they go into these here marriages just so they can get a kid with whoever this man is and then leave him. But guess what? He's got to pay child support. And if he's got some type of money, he got to pay you some type of alimony. Like, there's a lot of women that's actually doing that for the financial gain of it. So the problem with being deceived or tricked or wasting your time is you don't know until you are deceived. A lot of times you don't know until your time is wasted and you see them for who they really are. And a lot of times it's too late at that point. You already stuck. You already in there, and now you already gonna get screwed. So that's why if you have means as a man or a woman and you get married, it's best that both of y'all do a prenup, a joint prenup, where you protect your assets and what you have currently, and then split up whatever is accumulated after you all are in the actual marriage together. That's what I think should happen, but I'm not married.
I think that's most practical one there.
Yeah.
Right. So. All right, man. Looks like we are up against the clock. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be bringing on our guest for the night. We're going to be talking about husband material men and what it takes to actually be considered husband material. You are tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. We got our special guest on for the night. We got my man Solo Raw in the building. What's good, bro?
What's up? What's going on, y'all?
What's up, bro?
Not much, man. We glad we could get you on the podcast. We see you had a connection with my man SD, so I'm glad we was able to work it out to bring you on the podcast. But before we get into the convo, man, can you let the audience know a little bit about you, your background, so they can see where you're coming from?
Well, my name is Malcolm Brown. I hail from the great city of Chicago. I've been in the tattoo industry for 13 years, y'all. Yeah, I draw people for a living, right? And so one day I just started talking about my life and my relationship and my marriage, and ended up all over the internet and then landed here on this great podcast. So I'm just excited to be with y'all, and I guess the more questions you ask, the more come out. I kind of know where to start. If I needed a bio, I could have sent it,
Well, nah, man, we just want to keep the conversation authentic. Well, congrats on being married and actually being one of the voices out here talking about what things are like from a husband perspective. I'm one of the only guys that I know that's actually married or actually been married for a significant amount of time. So we got a good blend of single guys in my perspective. But I wanted to kind of shape this conversation about husband and husbands to be in regards to what it actually means to be a husband and what we look for. So the first thing I want to ask you is what characteristics, or how would you define what it means to be husband material?
Oh, that's a great question. It's funny because I'm talking to my brothers about this. Y'all ever heard, I'm a man of God, unapologetic. I'm sure y'all heard the scripture. When a man finds himself a wife, he finds himself a good thing. We've all heard that, right?
Yep.
Notice it says when a man finds himself a wife. So the question then is, what is a man? Oftentimes we look at the woman and expect the woman to be all the way put together to be wifey material, but it's a man that identifies the wife, right? So I'll take you back to another scripture. It says, when I was a child, I thought I was a child, spake as a child, understood as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. The question is, are you mature enough to be a husband? Have you evolved to the stage and the age in your life to where you can take on the weight, the responsibility, carry the discipline, walk with the integrity to be a husband? Are you a man? Is the first question I would ask. And then once you can establish yourself as a man, right, a man's man, then you'll be able to take on a wife. You'll be able to identify the wife too, because once a boy grows into a man, that's when he discovers his identity. And when you know yourself, you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. People always, now, being in the space where I'm, ready to get married and all these here things, I have shrunken down my dating pool so much to where I don't even entertain certain women stuff that I see that ain't even on that road, they doing too much out in the street, so they want to be city girls and do all this other mess. I don't even entertain it. Whereas when I was 25, 30, I entertained them all day. That's exactly because that's the space I was in, to where I'm like, I'm not looking. You don't need to have any wifey qualities about you. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for a wife at that point, right? And that's how a lot of men operate when they in what I call the whole phase, right? You operating in a space where you ain't even thinking about being a husband, and you definitely ain't looking for a wife. So you want women that are loose and women that are out here doing all types of things. But when you graduate from that into looking for, okay, now I want to settle down, I want a wife. That starts, like you said, with you. You have to settle down what you do and slow up and become that man and stop doing boyish things out here. And then you'll be able to see clearly your value and the value in the woman that you want to be with also.
Hey, SD, let me add this, right? So when I think about my own personal journey, when I met my wife, I had already been an entrepreneur, so I established my own physical needs, right? I had a clear vision on what it is I want to do, so I understood my mission in life, right? I had my own crib.
How old were you?
I was very young. I was when I opened my business, I was 21. When I met my wife, I was 24. We got married when I was 28. When I was 25 when I met her, we got married at 28.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of already established my own foundation. And one thing I see a lot of young guys do is they don't have their life together. So how can you bring a woman into the picture when you can't take care of yourself? A lot of these guys ain't even got a driver's license, bro. And
that's crazy.
I'm just keeping it 100, right? No gainful employment. They're entrepreneur, no stability in the business, don't have their own crib. They ain't got their own vehicle. If they do got their vehicle, they ride dirt. It's like their life is all over the place. So how can you expect to get a woman and bring her into this chaos and then think she's going to be okay with fixing you? No, that's why I said you got to be a man first. You got to have yourself together.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes you see these guys, they bring these girls into these situations and, they trick them with the boo game first. And then on the other side of it, they start seeing the truth. And then that's when the problem
too late.
happens.
Yeah.
That's when
that's why. Too late. And that's the problem with women being so reliant on how they feel, and vibes and intangible things that don't really mean anything. Because with my interactions really throughout my life, my cousins, my friends, a lot of the females that I would talk to about how they chose certain guys, it's usually something really silly. Like if you listen to them, why they cut off a guy, why they won't date certain dudes, you'd be like, man, that's the stupidest stuff I ever heard. And so, and now as you become older, you see like, man, the dude that we can tell, man, that's a dude that's gonna take care of his kids. Look, he's straight. He got his priorities together. We can see a quality dude, and even though he might be, a quality dude could still be a great bachelor. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, the things that make you great at being single actually translate to being a good husband in a lot of different ways. Once you get that, you get a man that actually wants to be married and wants to have a family. I think that's to answer the question that I had asked earlier about being husband material. To me, it's a guy that demonstrates that he's either currently in a position to provide for himself and his kids, or he's on a path to do so. And so if a woman can identify a guy that's on a path to put himself in that position, that's where you're going to have the most success, ladies.
I want to say this too to the ladies. Oftentimes when they get into these dating situations, they go for God's potential, right?
Yep.
And potential is a figment of your imagination. It's not real. But because women are naturally nurturers, right? They either gonna aid or they're gonna save. they either gonna aid a man who knows what he's doing and knows where he's going, or they're gonna try to save a guy who they done bought into his potential. Potential is not real. It's a figment of your imagination that you created in your own mind that man did not even agree to. So you gotta date a guy's truth, because that's what you're gonna marry, his truth, who he is at his core. If he was not taking care of his business when you met him, he's not gonna take care of his business later. If he ain't got his life together when you meet him, 9 times out of 10 he won't have it together later, because you are who you are, plain and simple.
Right. So I like to say,
I was gonna say, can y'all define what we mean when we say a guy has his life together? What are some examples or some things that women can actually look at to say, yeah, he really got himself together, or he's really handling his business?
So Solo mentioned it earlier. He talked about having simple things, right? Simple things. You should definitely have your driver's license, right? Your mom shouldn't be handling all your business. If his mom got to handle all his business, make his dentist appointments and hold all his birth certificates and his social security cards and all that stuff, and he don't have his living situation in order, or he don't have his career choices in order, or even his home. If he has a child that's outside of his home, he don't have that situation in order where he don't know when he gonna see his child. I might see him on Thursday or Friday. His life is in shambles. It's not together. So a man that has his life in order, he got his living in order, he got his mental in order. If he has a child that's outside, it's in order. When you ask him, when do you see your kids? He can tell you. He can say, hey, I have my kid from this day to this day to this day. I don't have no issues. It ain't none of this here. And it's not a problem. A man that has his life in order and ready, like it's structured well. That's a common thing with a man like that. It's structured, and you can see it. You can see it in how he carries himself and in his life. And to a lot of women, it should be apparent to see. If it's not apparent to see, I'm gonna go back to this real quick about the potential thing that Solo just talked about. And I always tell women that dating for potential is a scam. If you're a woman that's over 28 years old, like 28 years old, because a woman at that age is looking for a man to be complete. They trying to get married and things like that. So they should be dating, like Solo said, where he's at right now. Look at him where he's at. But a woman that's younger, like in college, I'm okay with them kind of doing potential as long as he's on the path doing something. He's in college, he's in apprenticeship school or something like that, because they're younger, they 23 or whatever the case. So they got a little more grace period.
Couple years.
With their age. So I'm okay with that if he's on the path. But if he's selling weed and living on his mama's couch, that's not a dude that you want to try to date for potential, because you see something in him that he don't see in himself. That's not a guy that you should be bothered with. So that's how I feel about it.
I'll kind of piggyback off as Steve. For me, it's stability, because the way I look at it is how you do it one thing is how you do it all things. So that's, having a steady income, having a stable job. So your finances are steady, have a license like Solo said, so you can pay your bills. Because think about it, if your life's a mess, your finances are a mess. Your living situation is a complete mess. So it would not be practical for a woman to mix a life with that kind of man.
Yeah. I want to add something too. I will put on top of that, date a guy that got a vision, man. Like, you're not gonna get in the car with me and just let me drive you around for hours until you, and you're gonna start asking me where we going. And if I can't tell you, you're gonna say, take me home. Don't date a guy who don't know where he's going in life. Date a guy that has clear vision, because if he has clear vision, vision will discipline his life. Vision will focus his life. Vision will let you know if you fit into his life. When I met my wife, I told her exactly. I knew at 25 where I would be at 50. I'm 32 and we right on time.
Wow. That's what's up. Hey, Solo, let me ask you this. So when you say you met your wife at 25?
I was about 25. Yeah.
How long after you met her did it take you to realize I want to spend the rest of my life with this woman?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
It
don't take long.
Like, what was it about her that made you say, okay, this is the one?
Well, spiritually, I felt the connection. I kissed her. And I'm talking about when I kissed her, bro, I felt something inside of me I can't even describe in words. And it wasn't nothing sexual. It was like I've met my mate. Something that I've been looking for. I finally found it. But the practical things, I saw how she handled her business. She was managing her own finances well. I saw how she interacted with her family. Her mama wasn't into it. You get what I'm saying? Like,
all that matter, man.
Yeah, all that.
Absolutely.
I saw the family that she came from. She came from good stock. She came from a 2-parent household. Her mom is married, so marriage was modeled in front of her. All of these different things. I saw how she interacted with her nieces and her nephews, which lets me know she has a nurturing spirit. She would be a great mother.
Facts.
I saw how she handled conflict. I saw how she handled situations where she could have been dishonest, and all of that, culmination of all of that, plus how we kicked it together, how we vibed together, how we had a good time, how she respected me and honored me in public and in private, like all of these different things drew a conclusion that, hey, this is the lady that you want to spend the rest of your life with. She looked like the woman I saw in my vision. Maybe not physicality, but the essence of my wife, she was every bit of it.
That's what's up, man. It's interesting because, see, I got married at 25, and so I'm gonna be celebrating 20 years of marriage in a couple months.
Congrats.
So it's kind of weird, like, for me to be like the old school married couple. You know what I mean? Like, people are always like, "Man, y'all are still together," and to me, it's always been kind of a simple, formula: the conflict resolution. How do you deal with the conflicts? Because it's gonna come up. Probably you're gonna have arguments and beefs and all that, but is it done with respect? Is it done in a way where we come up with a way to either decrease it from happening in the future or prevent it from happening? Like you mentioned, properly vetting someone, taking the time to actually evaluate whether you're compatible with them or not. That's one of the biggest problems that I saw in once I got into the relationship space. But it's the most crucial part. See, like you said, you mentioned a lot of it. Seeing how they interact with family, how they interact with kids, how they handle money, how they deal with conflict or problems, how they dishonesty, their integrity, all those type of. You'd be surprised how many people end up with a baby by somebody or married to somebody. They didn't evaluate none of those things.
Bro, we got 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. The crazy thing is we do so much of this in the beginning of the relationship and not enough of this. Like, I'm watching and I'm learning about you. I'm watching your family. Like, when we go to family events, like, it ain't no weird cousin around. Like, like that.
It matters.
Most guys ain't never peeped. When you go to a family event, this girl ain't talking to this weird cousin that don't nobody like. But then later on, it comes out that dude did something to her, and that trauma is now existing in your relationship. You see what I'm saying? So, like, these are the type of things that you gotta watch for. These are the type of things that you should be looking for when you're picking a mate, and the ladies too, women. Don't date a man that if that man mother in his life and he does not respect his mother, do not date that man because he will not respect you.
Nope, not even. And you know what, man? I pay attention to so much stuff out here, man. When I do entertain a woman, I'm paying attention to everything: how you talk, how you post on social media, how you dress, how often are you outside in the streets moving around out here. Like, I'm paying attention to everything. What it is that you feed your mind. Are you watching Basketball Wives and Love and Hip Hop and Baddies South and listening to Sexy Red? Like, are you doing all of this just stuff feeding your mind and then coming out here regurgitating certain things? Like, because we have to use when you single out, especially nowadays, You really got to use
I
all
thank
of
God
these
I'm
here
not
things
famous.
at your disposal. Yeah, you got to use all these tools
Gotta
at your
investigate,
disposal.
baby.
Yeah, so that you can learn as much as you can about the person that you're dealing with. Because if you in the mindset that you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want to make sure that this here person, it will fit well within your life and you in theirs, not just theirs and yours. You in theirs also,
Gotta
so that you
coexist.
all can make it that far.
Exactly.
Yeah, to where you got 20 years like Terry or Solo. How many you got now? How many you been married now?
5. We've been married 5 years.
years.
Been together 8.
Half a decade.
5 years married, man, like, and 8 years together. Like most people out here ain't getting that because they not taking the time to actually get to know who it is that they dealing with. And trust me, I was in that same boat too, man. I ain't no different than nobody else when I be talking. You know, I got 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? So I did the exact same thing, but you have to learn from those situations and then, you know, change how you do certain things if you want something different later on in life.
SD, I learned most people don't want to be married, bro.
Really?
Most people like the idea.
They want the wedding.
They want the wedding.
I got you. Yeah.
It takes 30 minutes to get married, but it takes 30 years to build a marriage. And so you got to understand, marriage is intentional work. And they don't want to put in the work. They don't want the accountability. I hear guys complaining about the pressure. Oh, I pay the bills. I do this. I do, and complain and complain and complain. When it's like, bro, you the man.
You signed up.
I hear the women complaining about cleaning and doing the wifely duties or whatever, which really ain't submission. That's a whole nother conversation we'll get into later. But because they think cooking and cleaning and having sex is submission. That's service. It's 2 totally different things. But I see people complain about these things, and my question is, what did you think it was going to be? It's like signing up for a job, reading the application, and getting hired, and now you hate the job.
Mad.
Yeah.
Well, we see that.
So that you brought up a good point. What was your biggest misconception about marriage when you got married?
I didn't have one.
So it's everything you thought it would be?
I knew that marriage was going to be intentional work, but I knew who I was marrying. I told one of my guys asked me a question the night before I got married. My best friend, we were sitting in the car. He said, "Bro, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How you know?" I said, "Because I've reconciled in my mind if she never changed, I could be with her for the rest of my life." And most people, again, we marry potential, so we expect the person to change. But I knew if my wife didn't do nothing but be herself, like the essence of who she was, the day I was gonna say yes to her, I would be happy. I'm a lucky guy. I'm blessed, man. And so like, and I went into it understanding, you know, that it's gonna be work. You know, I'm a hard working dude. I don't duck and dodge no work. So I already went into it with that mindset. And I want to be married. I want to leave a legacy. I want to have the family. I want to die with my wife. Like that's what I want. And so I didn't have no misconceptions about it.
But see, for me, man, I had bought into my rookie year of marriage. I was suffering from the happy wife, happy life kind of mythology, where I was making decisions just because I thought it would make my wife happy. You know what I'm saying? Like so that first year I had to learn to say no. Like, nah, we can't do that now. We got to do this. We can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to start. It's kind of like in parenting how you got to give it tough love sometimes. I had made some choices or gave my approval on some things because she said she wanted it. Where I had to learn that that's not my role, man. Sometimes as a husband, you got to be the bad guy. You got to be the one to enforce the budget or postpone the vacation or whatever the case may be. So that was the misconception that I had. And that's one of the reasons that on my platform, I talk about these silly cliches and how problematic they are.
One of the questions a guy got to ask himself that's stuck in that situation is why are you afraid to say no? And that, why are you afraid to say no? Most guys buy into that happy life, happy wife thing because they're afraid of being alone. Well, you gotta ask your question, why did y'all get married then? Right? And so, like, that's a deeper conversation. You know, I'm a life coach, bro. I get down to the core of things. Like, you know, I get to ask them, but these are the questions I ask myself in my own personal private time, in my introspective time, because I realize you get half of people coming together thinking they're gonna create a whole marriage. A good marriage is two whole people who fully understand themselves, understand what God is trying to take them at, partner. We partnered in purpose together. We're going to do this. And when you do that, and it's a foundation of love, God is the center of it all, man, ain't really we don't have no struggles, bro. No storms. My storms is outside of my house. It ain't inside the house.
That's important. That peace, man.
That peace,
maintaining that peace in the house is important. But Solo, let me ask you this, man, because I remember back in the day. Did you have an Impala? Was it the Impala?
Yeah, the Impala. Yeah.
You had the Impala, and I remember. I remember you used to take the piece of paper and draw a car in, the Bentley on the piece of paper and put it on your steering wheel and ride with it, right? Yeah. And the women would be like, "Man, I'm gonna ride with you. This is young Solo. I'm gonna ride with you, right?" So how do you now, being Malcolm Brown Solo, author, father, all these here things? And tattoo artist, how do you deal with the temptation that I know still comes from women that don't care that you married? How do you deal with that?
It's funny. I'm gonna actually post a video about this. So you gotta use wisdom, bro. Like the Bible says, "Who can take fire into his bosom and not be burned?" So I don't put myself in heated situations. You know, I try to use wisdom. I can see that you want me. I don't want you, bro. I will literally call my wife in the middle of that session. You see what I'm saying? Put her on FaceTime with me, and we just sit and chop it up. You know, I will tell my assistant. I'll tell my assistant after the person leaves, she can never book with me again. Why? Don't worry about it. She just can't book with me no more, because I understand, bro. This is an attack of the enemy. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool. I'm not lacking in no, bro. I don't have a physical need. I'm not lacking in no area, and I don't need no extras. I'm cool. Man. You see what I'm saying? And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I respect my wife so much, because she was in that car with me with that sticker.
Yeah.
And so we got to the point where we can actually afford to buy the Bentley. And I was picking a car for my birthday, and she was like, "Baby, go get the Bentley." And I was like, "Nah, I'm cool, right? I'm cool." And so I ended up buying her a car and buying me a car. We got 2 for 1. You know what I'm saying? The kids got some money put up in they journey. We good. But the fact that she was there with me and she didn't laugh at me, she didn't talk about me, she supported my vision, bro. Even at that moment, she said, "I believe that we can get there." And everything that I've said in my 1-bedroom apartment and talked to that woman about, we've been able to accomplish together because she believed in it. That's why I don't care what you bring me. These women can throw their best at me. I'm not going at gunpoint, because I know what I got.
That's what's up, man.
This what needs to be heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say women need to understand, like, when we talk about men being faithful or whatnot, ultimately it's getting your man to feel like he just described, where he feels like it's not worth messing up, it's not worth the temptation, where even if he's attracted to what he sees, he consciously makes a decision to choose other decisions. That's where you want to get your man to it. A lot of women make the mistake of trying to police what he looks at or who he sees or comes across or whatnot, where that's not the decision making thing when the tire hits the road. If your man is in a situation where he's aroused by another woman and he's thinking about you in a good space.
Yeah, I call my wife immediately, bro. She be like, "Why are you calling me so much, baby? I just miss you. I miss you, baby. I miss you."
You better say that instead of saying, "Man, this chick got some big titties that I'm kind of pulling on here."
It's the thing though, too. Guys that's watching this, I want to tell you something. I'm not a perfect man. I'm a convicted man. I have a conviction about being faithful to my wife because I realize everything that is on the line. I would deeply, deeply damage and hurt my wife and tear down the legacy that God is trying to have us build, that God is working for us to build. So it's not worth a moment of pleasure for a lifetime of trauma. That's not only going to affect me, affect my wife, it's going to affect my children, my grandchildren. Like, that's one man's decision is tied to so many destinies, bro. And so I think about that, and the conviction of God rest on me. Like, I would never hurt my wife like that, bro. I love her too much. We say we love people, bro, but we intentionally do things to hurt them.
Yeah,
I just can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Well, that's good to see you, a guy with that level of maturity and perspective, speaking about it on the platform, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Looks like we are up against the clock, but before we get up out of here, man, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background audio. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. SD and Jay, appreciate y'all linking up with me so we can get this episode knocked out. And Solo, man, we definitely appreciate you coming and chop it up with us.
I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Absolutely.
Facts, man. This is we gonna reach some folks on the internet with this one, man. Everybody, man, we hope y'all having a happy new year, man. This has been another episode of the Hold a Husband podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
I love the name.
Peace.